Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse today is Kamma Sarikkhata or Kamma Sarikkhata, the law that determines, the cause and the effect being similar. Now, what is the process? What is it that makes, for instance, a violent man, a man who believes in violence, in killing, in destruction of life, also ends up in a violent manner? Believing in violence, killing, etc., and ending up in violence, in a very violent death. Or a person who deprives, stealing, who deprives others by, say, corrupt practices and all that sort of thing, and stealing and all that, also ends up being deprived. The recent case, for instance, a policeman was supposed to get a higher ranking, but he took a bribe from his own policeman and then landed himself in the judicial custody, and in the process being deprived of getting a promotion, etc. So here now there are any amount of cases that shows that when you act in a certain manner, you end up getting a result also which is alike, the same. Yatha karmam tatha phalam. We spoke about it last time, and the example of Chunda Sukarika, the pig butcher Chunda, how he ended up. He not only butchered but traded on the flesh of the pigs, and in a very, very cruel manner he did it for about 55 years and ended up dying in the manner where, he acted like a boar, like a pig, the way the pig was butchered and, cruelly treated. He underwent that process and ended up in being born in the lowest plane of, the lowest state of the plane of suffering, that is apaya, in Naraka. He was born in hell. So, this likeness between the cause or the action and the result of the action. How does it work? How does it happen? Last time we gave you an example of a person who indulged in evil action. Today we'll give you an example of a person who did just the opposite. Now, before we give you the story of Upasaka Dhammika, this is based on Dhammapada Gatha number 16, which relates how the Upasaka Dhammika, you see, here, Idha modati, pecha modati, katapunyo ubhayatha modati, so modati, so pamodati, disva kamma vishuddhi mattano. The doer of good rejoices here and hereafter. He rejoices in both the worlds. He rejoices and exults, recollecting his own pure deeds. Now, this gatha was pronounced by the Lord on a certain occasion. So here we come to what is the historical background of this gatha. I will relate to you today. That will be the subject of the discourse today. Now, how, for instance, by living through pure deeds, good karma, a person, got the result of great bliss and happiness of Devaloka, here and now while still living as a human being. And then after passing away was born in Tusita heaven, in the Tusita Devaloka, the highest Kamavachara Devaloka. Not the Mara Loka, but the Devaloka. Beyond Tusita, of course, there are the two Mara Lokas, but Tusita is supposed to be the most sublime form of among the Devas, 6 Devalokas. Now, it is the story of Dhammika Upasaka. He apparently had a very large family. He had 7 daughters and 7 sons. And he owned a huge business empire. A very, very rich man and very, very, righteous man who believed in dana, who believed in doing charity and very generous indeed in many ways. All his life he has done nothing but good. So the story is when he was about, say, past his the 60th year or near about, he decided to take up Ashtashila, the 8 precepts, and live a life of just like a monk, a celibate life, and dedicated himself totally to spiritual life while being an upasaka. That is, he gave up all his children, took over his responsibilities, his various business and other responsibilities, and he devoted himself totally to the study of Dhamma. He used to go and attend the discourses of the Buddha very, very regularly from his younger days. So he decided as a retired man to lead a pure life, and every day that he would listen to the Dhamma from the Buddha himself and then come and tell these to his family people and his friends. Then he gathered a group of people who are really friends and relatives and others who are working under him and so on. So gradually he developed a group of 500 such people who will listen to him in the morning. He will get up early in the morning at 4 o'clock, and these people also will get up. They will come and join him, and then they will practice meditation. He said there are 4 types of meditation they practiced. They are known as the protective meditations. The Chattari Arakhani, that is Buddhanusati Mettacha Asubha Maranasati Iti Ima Chatura Rakha. These are the 4 types of Chatura Rakha, 4 types of protective meditation. Practicing a form of meditation that not only calms down the mind and purifies the mind and develops all the inner potentials in the mind, but which also provides protection in our day-to-day life in every possible way. And what are those? Buddhanusati, the recollection of the qualities of the Buddha, of the Supremely Enlightened One. There are 9 qualities, and if you recollect, you recollect on them, you deeply, wisely reflect on them, and thereby establish those very qualities within yourself. So as you recollect the qualities of the Buddha, you are actually depositing those qualities within yourself. You are wisely reflecting on them and then creating them within yourself, empowering your mind with those qualities. So So they are indeed very, very protective. They are spiritualizing one's life in a profound manner. You literally develop the qualities of enlightened one. So you are preparing yourself to be an enlightened one yourself by meditating on those 9 qualities of the Buddha. I won't go into them today because that is not the subject proper. Subject is the law of karma and punarjanma, rebirth, which reflects the nature of the karma. So, the other one is metta, universal love, the second. They spent, let us say, half an hour each. For half an hour you will meditate on Buddhanusati, on the qualities of the Buddha, and half an hour on metta, on universal love, so that he develops a state of consciousness that has become totally freed from egoism, from I-ness and myness. Instead of thinking about me, you think about others. And instead of wishing only one's own happiness and one's own little interests and all that, you now develop the qualities by which you think of others' happiness, others' well-being. Parahita parasukha kamana. You meditate in a manner by which you are promoting the well-being and happiness of all. You wish the happiness. May all beings be happy. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta. May all beings be happy. But before you reach to this state where all beings are being radiated with thoughts of loving kindness, before you do that, you have to go through a step-by-step approach. And that also is a meditative method which most of you know. So I won't dilate on that either. But I will merely, I will mention these are the meditations that they were practicing. So literally your mind becomes universal. It no longer it's petty and small, confined to a caste or a creed or to one's any selfish end at all. So you spiritualize your mind to that extent that you become universal. So they practiced on that, say about half an hour. Then they switched on to something else to deal with the mind, because mind basically tends towards greed and lust and acquisitiveness. There is a tendency for the mind to go towards that. So now to neutralize that effect, asubha bhavana, that is, you meditate in a manner where you see the repulsiveness, not the attractiveness of the body. The body, when you look at the body and see the good side and the attractive side, lust, thoughts of lust arises. Thoughts of raga, and you see, lust and this sensuality and sexuality, all these arise because of that. So now, to neutralize all that, you practice what is called asubha bhavana. That also has a specific technique and very effective indeed. You can totally overcome this tendency for sensual desire, sensuality and pleasure mongering and all that, lustful thoughts. All that can be overcome quite easily by practicing this meditation. So there is a specific method. They applied that and they practiced that for half an hour. And then to overcome this tremendous, the feeling of I-ness that I am going. What is I-ness? You see that there's a tendency to think that one is permanent. One is going to live forever while others die. And you see everywhere people are dying, but you never think of your death. No. You don't want to face the reality. So this hiding behind this mask of permanence, that I am not going to die somehow, others will die. This kind of thing that lurks in the mind, and which is called avidya, the delusion of permanence, delusion of being forever you are going to be there. If not, even if you die, you say, yes, I might, but you want to come back again and live again. So this thirst to live in the a worldly life, you see, the craving to continue to exist in samsara, that is another devil that besets the mind. So to overcome that, one practices marananusati. So these people practice. Marana means, how you see, meditation on death. That is the reality of life. Everybody has to face that. So beforehand, if you can prepare your mind in such a way that you can face death calmly, smilingly, with a loving heart, wishing everybody happy and pass away. Just as Dhammika Upasaka did. He passed away in a most glorious manner, smiling and happy, looking at all his children and family around, and under a very inspiring circumstances indeed, which I am going to relate now. So this is how these 500 people with Dhammika as their teacher, you see, they were practicing every day. And then they will live, go and have a little walk in the morning, 7 o'clock maybe, and go back to home. And these 500 in turn, they developed their own groups, their own friends and relatives and others, and they are all retired people. The whole lot of them were retired. So they developed their own groups of Dhamma groups. It's called the Dhamma study group. And they were practicing sadhana at home in this way. So each one again, they had their timings. They said when they returned from the morning walk and all the sadhana, morning sadhana, then after breakfast, these people will come at about 9 o'clock or so, and they spend another couple of hours doing the same thing. First of all, they will practice this, and then they will discuss about the previous evening, the discourse the Buddha gave on the previous evening. Whatever discourse they heard, they will analyze it. They will try to understand it in a very deep way, and how that can be related to their personal lives. So it was a very illuminating kind of spiritual pursuit that they followed. So then in the evening, afternoon, after their meal, they had this, all of them practiced Arthashila. So they were celibates. They were just living at home like, atithi, some kind of guest, and inspiring the other people at home. And so a new type of environment they created at home. A very lively, spiritually lively environment indeed. So it was a character building environment in the houses of all these people. 500 Dhammika and his 500 colleagues and students. Then those students in turn 500 each. My goodness, you multiply 500 into 500, you have 25,000 people. And all over Savatthi was one of the biggest cities of India at that time. Much bigger than what we have today, Bangalore, let us say. Because more than 100 crores. 1 crore is 7 miles. That is the extent of Savatthi. East to west, north to south. Huge, huge. And there are 2 big rivers through the city. And so people were extremely prosperous in that city. That was the biggest in India those days. And Lord Buddha stayed there for 25 years. Vasa, he spent his rains retreat, 25 rains retreat. So now they would hear the discourse, come and discuss and try to get some message out of it for their day-to-day life. So Dhamma was a part of day-to-day life for all these seekers of enlightenment. These are all seekers of enlightenment. Serious sadhakas, wonderful people. Here and now, they are all, after all, upasakas. And they had also the upasikas in Visakha's house similarly. So that was a wonderful time, when these people were spiritually evolving. And you could see how they were evolving. Now, Upasaka Dhammika became old, maybe about 70s or so, and he suddenly fell ill. So his family members, they were all very concerned. And Upasaka said, well, my dear, now the time has come for me. I can see I have completed my period here, and I can see where I can go, he had developed himself so much, he became the captain of his destiny. He knew where he was going to be reborn. So he told his people, say, now the time has come, it's a matter of few hours. I have to go and tell Bhagavan, I would like to hear a sutra, as the last thing before I go. So he went and said, please request for 8 monks or 16 monks. They went and Bhagavan knew everything. He knew everything beforehand. That very morning he knew that Dhammika will be reborn in Tusita and all that sort of thing. So, when they went, Bhagavan immediately sent these monks. They came and sat down around his bed. He was lying, and with his hand up he says, Venerable Sirs, welcome, and please let me hear a sutra, Bhante. And they said, yes, what sutra, my dear Upasakji, Maha-Upasakji, what would you like to hear? They said, the sutta which every Buddha preaches, Satipatthana Sutta, the foundation of mindfulness, is commonly taught by all Buddhas through kalpas and timeless, So, they started reciting the sutta. And it was very melodiously they recited, they knew it's the last moment of the Upasaka. And with great devotion at heart. And they were all they're all released people. They're all enlightened beings.